Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to this private session that I'm getting ready to do with Ginny, who has never done tapping before. So I'm super excited to bring it on. And we were chatting a little bit beforehand about topics. And, she's done so much healing that, we're going to work on something from like a positive aspect today in kind of like opening things up further surrounding money and abundance, right? So I always like to start with this by kind of just collecting information and kind of just seeing like in this case like what the relationship with money is, what you're wanting to call in, like what is it that you're desiring right now with that abundance and that money.
So to me, which I think is so interesting, I've always had a pretty good relationship with money. I work really hard. Like I started working really young, started earning money. Like my dad would offer me 20 bucks for gas. I'm like, no, I'm good. Like kind of my whole life, even as a teenager. So I've always had that. But to me, my relationship to money is that money means freedom. And freedom to me means travel. It means the availability and accessibility to wonderful experiences in life.
Yeah. What are some more of those wonderful experiences that you'd like to maybe call into your space this year?
So I feel like a lot of it is travel. Like a lot of it is getting around. And for me, what I love about travel is seeing and experiencing new cultures, different ways of life. I really try to take things in. Like when I travel, if I speak to the concierge at the hotel, I'm like, where should I go eat? But don't give me the touristy place down the road. Where do you go? Right? Like I want to go eat where you eat, where the locals go.
Hmm.
Um, just seeing different beautiful things. Like I am very, I think you and I had talked about this in a previous conversation. Like I just went on a trip to Barcelona by myself. And I'm a very sensory person. Like I can get my senses because I'm actually a highly sensitive person, which is uh, you can get overly stimulated. You're very empathetic, like you have a heightened sense of your
Right.
senses. And so I think I experience things in a different way, especially when I'm by myself. Like if you're really taking everything in from a sight, smell, sound, kind of feel
Hmm.
way.
Yeah. So what would you say is blocking you from experiencing as much of that as you want to right now?
Um, I think it's because of my transition in the way I earn money is different now, right?
Yeah.
Like I went from corporate, having this corporate career of, regular salary to now it's more transactional, right?
Hmm.
I book a speaking gig and then I get paid. So it's just a different relationship that I think I'm getting used to,
Would you
like
say
just
it's a different
accustomed to it.
feeling of like being able to trust money, like that money will be there for you
Maybe,
kind of thing?
maybe.
Okay. And then you mentioned about like having a work ethic when you were younger, about like working hard. Do you feel like it has to be hard? Like, is there a belief connected with that that in order to make that have that abundance, that it has to be difficult
So I
or
wouldn't say
work a
that
lot?
it's hard. I love to work. Like I actually really enjoy it, but I'm a hustler. I'm a hustler. I make stuff happen. Like earlier this week, I was at dinner with some friends, and one of them was talking to me about. I actually introduced them, this, which is interesting that we picked this topic, because I introduced them to my financial planner, and they had met with him that day, and their whole conversation was around like, well, when can I retire? And then he looked at me and said, well, Ginny, you're kind of retired. And at first, I was so offended because I was like, I work harder as a self employed person than I ever did in corporate. But Theresa, then I had to like shift my perspective. Well, it's still a little offensive. But then I was like, well, I should maybe take it as a compliment because maybe I make it look so effortless.
Gotcha. That's yeah, that's helpful. So there's this transition that's going on. There's maybe a little bit of a feeling like, you can't trust money the same way that you used to, and it just kind of like came in a regular flow.
Yeah, that's so interesting. But maybe, yeah, I think that could be it. It's like a different relationship with it than I've ever had my entire life,
Okay.
as an adult.
All right. So let's see what comes up as we do this. And I don't remember if we talked about this on the show or not, but when we tap on certain things like a physical ache or pain, we get an immediate shift. We know that that physical ache or pain has been removed or maybe moved to another part of our body or lessened or whatever else. When we tap on money, it's not like we're going to be done the tapping round and all of a sudden like I mean, maybe, somebody will show up at your door and it'll be raining money, but, it's not likely to be that way, but it will show up in like a lessened resistance around things or, more openness to the opportunities that are presenting themselves, perhaps more trust in, that money will be there for you and that it's there to support you, that kind of thing. So that's kind of the stuff to look for as we do this. It'll be a more subtle thing right now, but as it is, we like to kind of rate this before we start. We use the subjective units of distress, otherwise known as the SUDS scale, kind of like you do at your doctors to kind of rate this challenge. So it seems like the key point that we discovered there was, we could sum it up as I I don't trust that money will be there for me, I think. Would that be accurate?
Sure.
So when you think about that statement, I don't trust that money would be there for me. How activating is that to you on a scale of like 0, where it's like, whatever, I trust money, it's cool, I don't need to do this, and 10, where it's like there's some distrust there, and I'm not feeling as abundant as I could be because of it.
Maybe like a 4.
Okay. I'm going to write that down for you. And for those of you who are listening and tapping along, write your number down. Oftentimes we discount the change that gets made in a short period of time, or we forget our number if you're like me. So write it down so that you know what kind of change has been made. And think about what it is that you're feeling challenged by, because you can adapt this tapping session to whatever the thing is that you have going on. And I think that almost anybody can find something related to money that is either a belief they want to shift or something that they want to change, to be more abundant and be able to enjoy more of the things they want in life. So with that in mind, we're just going to take a nice deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth, and just kind of feel yourself sitting in your chair and here in this moment. And I'm going to start tapping, and it's going to like follow the leader. So I'm going to tap on a part, you're going to tap on the same part, doesn't matter which hand, either or. And we're going to go through these different spots. I'm not sure how well you can see in the video, but at one point we're going to tap under the arm, pretty much like where like a bra strap would go around your body. That's the spot under the arm that we're going to tap on if you can't see it well. And I'm going to say something and you're going to say it back to me. Unless, of course, it feels like the furthest thing from the truth. Sometimes things are a little bit triggering and a little bit off, say them anyway. But if it's like totally like a hell no, this is not me at all, then let me know what is. I'm often told that I'm kind of like a mind reader, but I'm not. So, I do the best I can. Here we go. Even though I don't fully trust money right now,
Even though I don't fully trust money right now,
I want to love, accept, and forgive myself.
I want to love, accept, and forgive myself.
Even though there's been a lot of financial transition these last few years,
Even though there's been a lot of financial transition these past few years,
in the way that money comes into my life,
in the way that money comes into my life,
and I don't quite trust that it's always going to be there for me.
and I don't quite trust that it's always going to be there for me.
I honor these feelings and accept myself anyway.
I honor these feelings and I accept myself anyway.
And even though I want to trust money will be there for me,
And even though I want to trust that money will be there for me,
and I have so many amazing things that I want to do with all that money,
there's so many amazing things that I want to do with all that money.
things that will serve me and the world,
Things that will serve me and the world.
I'm having some doubts about it.
I'm having some doubts about it.
But I'm open to the idea that I can heal this relationship with money.
But I'm open to the idea that I can heal this relationship with money.
These blocks to my abundance,
These blocks to my abundance,
I really want all of the freedom that more money will bring me.
I really want all of the freedom that more money will bring me.
And yet there's been a shift in these last few years
And yet there's been a shift these last few years
in the way that money flows into my life.
in the way that money flows into my life.
And now I'm 100% responsible for making it for myself.
I've always been responsible for making it for myself.
It's not flowing to me through a corporate job anymore.
It's not flowing to me through a corporate job anymore.
And even though I've always worked hard,
And even though I've always worked hard,
and the money I've received has been from my efforts,
and the money I have received has been from my efforts,
I'm really hustling right now.
I'm a hustler. I'm
I'm a
really
hustler.
hustling right now.
And sometimes that feels a little uncertain,
And sometimes that feels a little uncertain,
not knowing where the next big check is coming from.
not knowing where the next big check is coming from.
I don't doubt that it's coming.
I don't doubt that it's coming.
There's just a little bit of uncertainty there.
There's just a little bit of uncertainty there.
And a big desire for these abundance blocks to dissolve
And a big desire for these abundance blocks to dissolve
so that I can thoroughly enjoy the freedom of having all of the financial security I desire.
so I can thoroughly enjoy all of the freedom
Of the
that
financial security.
of the financial security.
In a nutshell. Okay. I have so many places I want to travel.
I have so many places I want to travel.
So many cultures I want to experience.
So many cultures I want to experience.
So many things that I want to experience with all of my senses.
So many things I want to experience with all of my senses.
And I just want it to all be here already.
And I just want it to all be here already right now.
All that money, all that abundance,
All that money, all that abundance.
so that I can do whatever I want with it
So I can do whatever I want with it
and really enjoy this one precious life.
and really enjoy this one precious life
Because I deserve it.
because I deserve it.
And I'm open to the idea
And I'm open to the idea
that money can flow to me easily
that money can flow to me easily
and in large quantities,
in large quantities,
ever increasing
ever increasing
from various sources,
from various sources.
and in no time, I'll be traveling the world to all of these places.
And in no time, I'll be traveling all over the world to all these places.
And I'm open to the idea that it's safe to receive this money
And I'm open to the idea that it is safe to receive this money
and that it is safe for me to create more abundance in my life.
and that it's safe for me to create more abundance in my life.
Abundance that comes from using my own talents
Abundance that comes from using my own talents
and telling my stories
and telling my stories
and really leveraging these special gifts that only I have.
and really leveraging these special gifts that only I have.
Clearing all of these abundance blocks down to a cellular level.
Clearing all of these abundance blocks down to a cellular level.
Sides of the fingers, kind of where your nail meets your nail bed. All these abundance blocks.
All these abundance blocks.
Just clearing them and calling back my power.
Clearing them and calling back my power.
Stating my intentions to have all the freedom I desire.
Stating my intentions to have all of the freedom I desire.
To make it rain.
To make it rain.
Rain down money on me.
Rain down money on me.
Now, the back of your hand between your pinky finger and your ring finger, right here. This is called the 9-gamut point. With love, acceptance, tolerance, and forgiveness,
Love, acceptance, tolerance, and forgiveness.
I call my power back into my body.
I call my power back into my body.
I am whole, complete, and powerful.
I am whole, complete, and powerful.
All right, Ginny, take another nice deep breath through your nose, out through your mouth. I sometimes like to end this with kind of like some havening, just kind of drive it all home and ground it. And just tell me how that felt for you as a first-time practice of EFT.
That felt amazing. What was interesting for me, I was trying to remember when things were coming up, but the abundance thing, I'm really glad I threw that word in there, because for the past year, every day I diffuse an oil called abundance in my diffuser, and that's going right now.
I have that oil on my shelf right there.
And also, one of the things that I always struggle with, and that it's really interesting if there's a connection, but I felt really happy when I wrote one of my other intentions on that meditation retreat that I went on that I told you about.
Mm-hmm.
One of my other intentions was that it is safe to receive love. And you had me say it is safe to receive abundance and money. And that was like a really powerful moment.
Good, good.
Yeah.
So when you revisit the statement of, not being able to trust that money will be there for you, where do you feel like you are on that scale of 0 to 10 now?
I mean, we definitely brought it down. I think a lot of the things that you were saying, so let's say like a 2.
Mhm.
I think one of the other components that you said, so like, yes, your intuition, I think, is very spot on with the things that you pull in, was that it's my talent. And that was a really hard shift, moving from corporate to you being the brand.
Right. Yeah.
There's a
It's really
lot of
easy to
stuff.
represent or sell somebody else's something, but when we're selling
Yeah,
ourselves, that brings up all those visibility blocks and all of those other
yeah.
things that we need to process.
So I was really glad that you brought that in too, because I felt like that was a big thing to like bring in and release.
Yeah. Awesome. Great
Yeah.
self-awareness there too. That's awesome,
Oh,
Jen.
thank you.
Thank you so much for tapping along with me. And for those of you who tapped along with us, I always love to hear from people and hear what you experience. So feel free to drop me a line on my email, Teresa@teresalearlevine.com, or just hit me up on Instagram. Do you want people to message you if they've tried this and had an experience
Yeah.
with it?
Yeah.
Give
At
us your
Ginny
information.
Priem on Instagram.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you guys for tapping along with us, and have an awesome day.